Lacey, Shade, and John, your time has come. Lacey, 29, from Virginia Beach, is a cam model and a mother of three. John is her off and on boyfriend since high school. He is 33 and is currently locked up for a year for pee-poo charges. They reconnected just before he went back to prison. He's been in and out his whole life. They reconnected and got engaged just before he went back. But while he was in prison this time, she and him got in a fight, and she ended up going on to a prison website and meeting Shane. Enter Shane, 21, serving 4 years, meaning he got locked up at 17. He's serving 4 years for harming someone. Like I said, Lacey has 3 children by a felon. He is currently locked up, the children's father, so she's done with him. And she has also dated other prisoners in her lifetime. It's her thing. So we have Lacey engaged to John, but also dating Shane. They don't know about each other, but Shane is the one that's going to get out first. So Lacey leaves her 3 children with her dad and goes 7 hours to meet Shane. She picks Shane up and they hit it off immediately, okay? There's no denying that. They really hit it off. But of course, this is Shane's first real relationship, first real everything, because he was literally locked up as a teenager. They spend the night at a hotel, but they do not hook up. She comes out in full lingerie and basically straddles the guy. And she's like, no, I'm not going to get with you. And he's like, okay. And I respect him for that. They have a wonderful few days. They're hanging out. They're really getting to know each other. And then she drops the bomb on Shane. Hey, I'm actually engaged to another inmate and he's getting out soon. And Shane's like, what are you talking about, Lacey? You think you love me? And she's like, I love you, but I also love John. But Shane's like, no, you're my woman. I'm going to fight for you because I love you, Lacey. So he does just that. She goes home and he basically follows after her and goes and basically moves into her home. Into her home where John is supposed to be getting out of prison and paroling to. So that's interesting. They do actually do the thing in the bed that John's supposed to be paroling into. She even goes as far as introducing Shane to her children and her father, which one thing about this entire season and this woman in particular is how every single adult in those kids' lives filled them. Shane was nice to them. I'm going to give him that. John did horrible things. Lacey, her dad has a red Solo cup in his hand all the time. They are constantly smoking in that house where those kids sleep, where those kids live. Don't do that shit. I digress. It's getting closer to John's release and Shane is really starting to freak out. So he takes her to like an Olive Garden type restaurant and proposes to her. She's crying. She's like, yes, Jane, of course I'll marry you. And then 5 minutes later, she has a change of heart and she's like, crap, wait, I'm already engaged. I don't know how I feel about John. I've got to wait till John gets out. So then she gives him back the ring. She's like, I can't marry you until I know how I feel about John. Plus, you didn't even propose nice enough. And somehow that fight goes from I can't marry you to her harming him on the face. To the face. On camera. Totally out of control. But they make up and then it comes to the day before John's release. And she's like, Shane, you gotta leave because John's about to get out. And he's like, no, I'm not leaving. This is my house. You're my woman. I don't care about John. Let me go meet him. Let me go meet him. And she's like, no, Shane, I'm just going to see how I feel when he gets out. And so she goes to pick up John. And she realizes instantaneously when she sees John that she just doesn't feel the same that she does for Shane. She likes Shane more. So she's like, okay, you know what, John? And then Shane pulls in. And they start making out in the parking lot like 2 wild animals. It is foul. The noises from that episode make me gag. John's yelling at Shane, and Shane's just kind of quiet and trying not to altercate because he doesn't want to go back to prison. John doesn't care. John calls Shane a backstreet boy, makes fun of his teeth, calls him a country boy, all kinds of stuff. But Shane keeps his cool, gets in the car, and they leave. The show fast forwards a little bit and we get to a cake testing where Shane and Lacey are cake testing because now they're going to get married in 2 weeks. And of course, after she leaves the cake testing, she's got to go see John. She says to John, I think my youngest child might be yours because we were hooking up around that time and I think he's yours. Spoiler alert, he's not. And then a few days after that, John shows up at the beach while Lacey and the kids and her dad are there. Shane's not there. And he's hanging out and like trying to be cool with the kids. And then they get into an altercation. This woman loves to slap a man. She ain't never met a man she doesn't want to slap. Doing that stuff in front of the kids, foul. Foul. And she knew what she was doing when she brought him there. Foul. The wedding day comes, and of course on her wedding day she has to call John. Even though she's marrying Shane, she has to call John and say, oh yeah, you're not the father. Like, she has to do that on her wedding day. If you contact your ex on your wedding day, there's something wrong with you. Everyone thought John was going to show up to the wedding, but he didn't. He just walked around and moped and was John. Shane and Lacey get a new home, which they still continue to smoke in. And then they decide to try for a baby as well. She did have her tubes cut, but they're either going to put them back together or do like IVF. So they do that. Mind you, this whole time, Shane does not have a job. So Lacey is footing the bill for all of this. John continues to contact Lacey and vice versa. And at one point, Shane sees text on his phone from him, on her phone from him, and it's like freaks out. And they get into an altercation. And there she goes, slaps the man again. But right after that, John goes back to jail for rugs. So Shane was like, bye. Lacey's got her kids calling Shane Daddy Shane, and he has his first job, so good for him. I know it's hard to get a job, especially with no experience, but also being a felon, can't imagine, but he does get a job. But the happiness didn't last for long because we learned that before the wedding, Shane got drunk and hooked up with some rando girl and then told Lacey about it, and she's like, ugh. That drove her right back into John's arms and pants. So she's like, Shane, get out of my house. And then John comes in the room and he's like, Big Daddy's home. And they try to kick Shane out. It didn't last long though because Lacey ended up calling 911 on John and getting him arrested again. And then, of course, as soon as John's back in prison, she's back with Shane and they get pregnant. They did the little embryo transfer and she got pregnant with triplets. Sadly, she did lose 2 of those babies and that broke my heart. Like, that's such a hard thing for anyone to go through. They did have a healthy baby girl though. Somehow during this, Shane loses his job and starts going online and doing cam work, kind of like Lacey is doing, except he's doing with both women and men, I guess, or sending women and men things, and Lacey finds out during a lie detector test she forced him to have and gets mad. I mean, dude, do you, okay? But she's mad. She has done girl stuff, but he can't. So you know what that means. She's mad at Shane. She's going to go hop back on John. And she does. And this is where the show leads off. We see Shane and Lacey split up and she's back with John. Let's talk about current day. Shane, I'm going to put a trigger warning here for animals. If you have a heart for animals, skip this part, please. Shane was arrested for harming a cat. It's not clear exactly what happened. It's been alleged that he harmed a cat so brutally and then shoved it in a cupboard at Lacey's house and then she found it. That's what the rumor is. The charges were dropped, but that is still out there. There's also said that he harmed a dog. Again, alleged, those charges were dropped. Right now, though, he is going to school. He's still on his braces journey. He got braces on the show, and seems to be actually doing kind of good. I mean, he does go on a bunch of tangents, and while I was looking up what he was doing, I did see his chocolate starfish, so he's also not allowed to contact his daughter. He has tried. I'm putting things on the screen. Please pause to read. He has tried. Lacey made him sign away his rights. He says that she tricked her. He had a GoFundMe. And then she says that the baby is not his. She used a donor because he was pumping blanks. So I don't know what's true. This is all alleged, like I said a million times. As for Lacey, she is still doing OF and cam girl work. She's very active on the Insta. Everything is linked above. John was in, out, the normal story. Allegedly, they are not still together. Recently, there was a rant by Shane saying that him and Lacey do METH together and that she lost her kids, she lost her house. I found proof that the house was sold by Lacey, so I don't know, but apparently she did lose her children. Just an all-around sad situation. My heart breaks for those kids. I hope they're doing okay. That's all I really care about. The 3 of them, whatever. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry this was so long. Again, pause to read everything. There's a lot of information. maybe I'll make another video.